Okay, I want to bring this up, and the reason I bring this up, Tina Riddell, for years, not only did she admit that she tampered with blood evidence with peroxide and baking soda. I finally got the baking soda, and there was multiple bottles and boxes of baking soda at Gabriel's daughter's apartment in the stairway that leads to the basement next to their driveway. Tina admits that she helped her daughter, Megan Allen, which is now Megan Eberling, Josh Eberling's wife. But you have, and I've known what Josh is up to. He's trying to get his wife, who stabbed one of the girls, just to know what it felt like, out of charges. So I put him through the works of rabbit hole after rabbit hole after rabbit hole. You think I'm going to tell him the exact truth? But this is to the point of tampering when deaths are in play, and this is word for word. I have a question. How many people are you saying was there and was involved? What are the names of all of them? You don't have to give me the full names, just initials if you want. What's the motive? And what's the evidence? Only reason why I asked, because you said Gabe, Kyle was involved, then Brad Holder, then Tyler, and a few that hung around them. Then that Greeno guy. So I'm just really confused. You're not confused. Your wife, their mom, done admitted they were there with KIEGAN CALLIS, Gabe and his bunch, and stabbed one of the girls to know what it felt like. Then called mommy to come help. We're coming back all bloody and muddy. We need help with disposing of the clothes and cleaning up the blood scene with baking soda and peroxide. Your mom already gave you away. But Josh went on to, so I could understand your case and the evidence and points to all the ones you think I'm trying to understand. I was locked up when all this happened. You were still out in 2016 when Karina McClurkin's happened. You know what's going on. He wants me to lay this down as if I'm a prosecutor prosecuting the case. So he wants every bit of the names, the evidence, the details, everything, so his wife can get this information to cover her own ass instead of going to prison. And her wife's friends, like Tyler Joe French, who just emailed me saying, "Oh, I'm giving out some details of your everyday life. I know where you live. And, oh, wait, you're in a chair. You can't run. So you can't run and hide behind a screen when I come to visit you." Yeah. The real VG wants to come visit me. But I just think it's kind of odd that you send your husband, Josh, thinking he can all buddy with me, and me tell him more than I've already spoke out in public. Not going to happen. And Josh, if you're listening to this, how can you sleep next to a child killer, marry a child killer, have a kid with a child killer that not only did that, but also with KIEGAN CALLIS was parading around with him, taking pictures, all loving up with him with a blood-stained Bowie knife. A blood-stained Bowie knife and a machete, both blood-stained. You can tell it's blood-stained because that is not rust, and regular rust doesn't form. It would form on the whole knife, the whole sheath of the, not sheath, but the metal of the machete, not look like. And the only way I'd known this is I've hunted before. So when you clean a deer, if you hold that knife up, it drips down. And if you lose a knife and you come back where it's dripped down, it's going to have a weird rust to it. It's only where the blood was, and that is where the rust forms. But if you look at Keegan CALLIS, his Facebook, another one that was named to be at the bridge that day, him and Megan are both holding that Bowie knife. She knows what happened. Her own mom let it be known for years in great detail on her role on helping, assisting, getting rid of evidence, and how. But her own mother let it be known that yes, her own daughter stabbed one of the girls to know what it felt like. That's sick. But then you have your husband trying to tamper with me to get information to get you out of prison and keep you out of prison. It ain't gonna happen, honey. Your husband's just got him another 30-year charge for what? Tampering. Witness and informant. Tampering. When deaths are involved, is 30 years per charge. And when there's multiple deaths involved, there's multiple 30-year charges that come with that. But then you got Tyler French saying, oh, wait, you can't run. You're in a chair. Well, buddy, if I ever had to pull, most of the time it's going to be up under my crotch where I can easily just do one finger where I can actually get the safety. I've got so if somebody goes to get my gun, my holster, you have to know how to properly get it out of the holster. It takes a couple steps to properly get it out of the holster. Otherwise, the holster is going to hold that gun for dear life until you properly do each step to get that gun out. There's a couple steps you got to do, how you got to move it and what you got to touch or push or pull. I'm not saying exactly how, but to get that out, if you don't know how to do it, that gun's not coming out of that holster. But 9 times out of 10, you see me with my chair out and about, I've got multiple on me. One's most of the time going to be a bigger weapon in a backpack. But my everyday carry, when I'm in my chair, most likely is going to be, I'm sitting right on top of it. I've got one hand going right down. Boom. I've got it, and I've got it coming up. But me being in a wheelchair, you think it's kind of funny. Not for the ones that I have to pull on, because wheelchair height, if you're sitting down right now, if somebody was standing a mile in front of you, put your arm out in front of you like you're holding a gun, sitting down. Where are you level at? So the first thing you do, if you have to defend yourself, you pull. You don't aim. You pretty much, like, if they're right in front of you, you shoot what's right in front of you. And I'm sorry, if you're a guy, you're at the perfect arm level, gun level. So when I have to pull to defend myself, you're losing some body parts that are really important to a guy. You're losing your gonads, your dangly. It's right there in arms. Like when I reach and pull and I have to hold it in front of myself, I'm sorry, but your male body parts are going to be the first thing that's going to get hit before I can aim anywhere else. If you're going to be standing right in front of me and become a threat to me, I'm sorry, but you're losing some man parts. That's going to be the first thing that gets shot off. And I hate saying it, but that is a very, very crucial area. So anybody that gets hit in that area, there's some very big blood vessels and arteries that go through that area. So it's not a disadvantage of me being in a wheelchair and having to pull a weapon to protect myself, because the one major area you don't want to get shot at, and it's not just because there's some male body parts there, but the arteries that go right there in that certain area get hit. Unless you know how to pack those wounds and actually get that bleeding to stop, which it's hard to do, you're going to lose some male body parts, but at the same time, you're going to bleed out. And I'm not trying to be all Mr. Badass, but You're going to come at me and become a threat and think just because I'm in a wheelchair, I'm an easy target. You're not me. You are at a great disadvantage standing in front of me. You think you're going to be big and bad and, overpower me just because I'm in a wheelchair. I may be an easy target. That's why I carry where I can legally carry whenever I can. Because I'm an easy target in a wheelchair to many of you idiots. Male or female alike, if you become a threat to me, come at me, and if I have to pull, there's 2 arteries and 2 different legs coming from that groin area. That area and those leg areas get hit where I have to pull first before I can get on target or aim. One of the first things you do, it's I've been training, you pull, it's 2 shots in front of you, and then you can aim wherever you need. Then you look around, make sure the close it's clear before you disengage and put your weapon up. So unfortunately for anybody that wants to become a threat just because I'm in a wheelchair, I'm sorry, but I'm going to be turning some of you trans. I'm sorry, you're not going to have your parts there, and if you survive, they're not going to be there. And I'm not just trying to be this to be a little hard ass or anything like that, but I'm just speaking the truth. When I've been training, when I'm in my wheelchair, I've been practicing shooting from the draw. I do 2 shots right in front of me. Then I've got a couple other targets. If it's multiple targets, I do the 2 shots in front of me. No sooner I pull, if you're in front of me, the 2 shots are going right in front of you, and it's not in a fun place. And it's not that I'm choosing to aim there, it's I'm forced to. First thing you want to do if you have to draw is to put distance between you and the enemy that's coming at you to do harm. And I'm sorry, but you thinking I'm in a chair and, that's a disadvantage to me. Well, it kind of puts me at an advantage because I'm putting a kill shot in a certain area. Many are not going to like the feeling. What they're going to be losing afterwards, and it's going to be, not to be gross or anything, but it's going to be so ravaged when a hollow point, a 40 cal bullet hits it. There's no way in heck they're going to be able to reconstruct that and put that on. You're going to be needing a donor D. That's bad. A donor D to replace yours with the gonads. So it's not a disadvantage to me. It's a disadvantage to anybody that wants to become a threat and come towards and become a threat to me. That anybody shooting at me, most of the time, these little thugs like to do drive-bys. Or when they are shooting at you, none of them really want to take the time. It's, I'm going to go sideways and kind of shoot wherever. When I'm in a wheelchair with the bulletproof vest on, the helmet on, and I've got a couple other plates hidden somewhere on my chair. I'm not going to tell you guys where they are, but I ordered a couple extra side plates that go to my side, and those side plates I've got on my chair in certain locations where it makes me smaller of a target. You've got inches of a target to be able to shoot me. I'm making it even worse and worse, and less likely if you're in a hurry to try to shoot me. It's not going to happen because I've made extra steps to make me as small of a target as possible. And when you're in a hurry, most likely it's going to be me walking or rolling out of this alive. But I just wanted to kind of do a short rant. But when Josh thinks he's going to get me to give him all this information that his wife, a child killer, along with her buddies, can get to use, how anybody could have a kid with a child killer, their own mom, put in very descriptive details. And I've still got the written information from your own mom, down to how they helped you get rid of evidence from a crime scene? And nothing, I'd have to look into those two. If you email me the names, I could easily look into that. But another thing, everybody thinks I'm attacking the families. No, the only people I'm attacking are the Dillers, like Derek, Del Wood, Joshua Link. You've got Gabriel Ellis, Tyler Joe French, Dustin Prater. All I'm doing is proving a fact. If they charge every single dealer in and around this drug ring that shows up in and around multiple murders, missing and killed cases, if you charge even family that are dealers, Blaine McClellan, among others, if you charge them all simple, just like Boone County did in their deputy's murder, if you charge each and every single one of these dealers, and Josh was asking the motive, it's drugs, money, and they think somebody turned into a confidential informant. So I got cats going crazy over here. But murder, the motive would be money and drugs owed, as well as all they have to do is have the assumption that somebody is going to snitch on that ring, the drug ring, as in drugs, the sex part of the drug ring, or if they knew intel about the Delphi girls, Flora, and others, which I feel is exactly why Nicole Bowen lost her life. When Garrett said she was going to snitch on that drug ring, I don't think it was drugs. I've heard from her own family. They don't think it was drugs. They think she knew something when it involved the kids' cases and was going to talk that way. And that's why they could not afford, just like Tyler, what Josh, his wife, are doing with me. This has been allowed to go on ever since I was even an active informant and the FBI agent was allowing this to go on. They knew intel on one of our suspects right there in Delphi. That's what had them up there in Delphi. Their son's owed an issue and a militia they belong to. The militia group was said to be training right there on Ron Logan's property. Brad Holder and his militia buddies were there training on Logan's property, and they left 24 hours before the Delphi girls' case. Everybody kept asking me, why was the FBI even up in Delphi? What were they doing up there? Why were they there? I'm telling you guys, just like the New Mexico jihad compound, it took an FBI informant speaking up. Just like the Nadler case, FBI Indianapolis knows intel and they failed to act, and they allowed Delphi, Flora, other kids' cases to happen. They had intel on this drug ring. Paige Trilly sits in my FBI informant files. Gabe Ellis, Tyler French, KIEGAN CALLIS, Megan Allen. Now it's Megan Eberling. Evelyn, whatever, however you say his name. But they all sit in my informant files, including Brad Holder and multiple other names in around that Sons of Odin and his militia group. I've got where 2 active military personnel from his said militia group making threats. Either I shut up, or the only thing that keeps them from coming over and silencing me is state lines, time, and opportunity. But I think one thing we need to demand is the representative that had any dealers that their drugs are involved with overdoses can be charged with murder. We need to have that reworded and demand that it is put in place to include any dealers, their drugs, their dealing involved with murder should be and shall be charged with murder, be it family, friends, any dealer in and around this drug ring needs to be charged, period. You think all these dealers, including family, are charged with murder? You think they won't start rolling on each other like they were to get less charges on the drugs? You think a lot of truth will not come out if you start charging what Boone County did? And those guys, they started doing what? They actually started rolling on each other, saying, oh, this person had this main role in it, only had this small role. But for Megan and her husband to think they can get information out of me to keep her out of prison where she can have this new family, and for Tyler and Megan and Josh to be using scriptures. That is the sickening thing about this. They think, oh, they are now churchgoers. They are following the word of Christ. Where do child killers and people that condone and associate and protect child killers, where do they go? They burn in hell. You can praise the Lord all you want in church, but when it comes down to it, thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not lie. You're doing both. Congratulations. There's a lake that you're going to be burning in hell in. I hope the swimming's nice. I hope it's to your liking, because you're going to burn in hell. And you're using scriptures saying, oh, I'm attacking all convicts. I'm attacking all users. The only ones I'm bringing up and naming are the ones that are in and around children's murdered cases. I'm not bringing up every dealer. I'm bringing up the ones that are directly tied back to many cases, adult and missing and killed, straight murders alike, that go back to this drug ring. And it's sad when I've got other convicts, users, former dealers, admitting to, yes, the cartel's right there active in a vehicle repair shop right there in Frankfurt. Of all places, guess where Derek was going to? Frankfurt. They've got a cartel. I know at least one in a repair shop. Latino repair shop is a cartel, active cartel hotspot. I've got a former dealer from Frankfurt 2015 raids. Their place is raided where they're saying they're getting fronts from this cartel at that location in detail. Give me a second. I gotta. But I just wanted to bring this up, and I wanted to call a few people out. But Tyler, anybody in this drug ring, you think you're big enough, you're bad enough to kill kids, and you want to come after me? Bring it. Your balls are so freaking tiny to kill women and children, and you think you're so big and bad? Well, come after a male, somebody that actually be able to fight for themselves and stand up for themselves, unlike a woman and a child. By all means. You think you're all big and bad for being a woman and child killer? Try me. Guarantee it'd be only me walking. But yeah, I'm going to have to go. I'm going to try doing a live probably this evening, but I'm going to try doing this since I'm using the iPad. I'm going to try using the where I can show things. I'll be showing you guys a few things that hopefully will open your guys' eyes quite a bit. But I'm not afraid of who I call retards. It's exactly what they are. For this drug ring to use social media, especially murderers and ones that are walking to this day, are using social media to like talk amongst themselves. It's so much easier than having cell phones or getting a new phone number and talking to these people. And for any of you idiots that are, like Tyler said, you're laughing at my page, the only one laughing will be us and me when many of you see Geronimo coming your way. You said many of you guys sit back and laugh at my videos. What's to laugh at? Me standing up for women and children's lives being killed by you? Inbred, ignorant retards? Nah, I ain't scared. You try to put the fear of God in me, well, guess what? Put the armor of God on. You cannot fight darkness with darkness. You can only fight darkness with light. Well, guess what? See, nobody's laughing. But look at my community page. Got a school resource officer talking about how he had to serve now Sheriff Liggett with a what? For what? You got a sexual predator now sitting as a sheriff, and he had to get served by a school resource officer for his actions against a female employee. The guy was kind of getting in a hurry on doing it, but if you look back when who he's talking about, Liggett, I had to serve him myself. Kind of gives you an idea of who he's really talking about. That's sad. That's sick. Asking for nudes from a female football coach and a female employee at the school got a certain somebody a no trespassing order. Can't be on school property. Wow. And that came from a cop. And by all means, email me. If you look on his friends list, Robert Ives, corrupt individuals that are sitting as a commissioner over in Kokomo and Howard County. Yeah, it gets bad. But look at my community wall. I'm going to turn some of this, because a lot of people don't look on the community wall. Well, I'm going to take some of the posts I've made on the community wall, and I'm going to try doing a live on this. And that way a lot more people would be actually seeing what I'm posting on my community wall. I'm going to do a live on here, and I would try to get all these screenshots and everything that was said and shown, and allow it to be shown on a live or a video on here where a lot more be able to see it. But you got a blue protecting blue, and you got corruption and corrupted individuals that are filling their pockets up. I want you guys to look into this. Howard and Carroll counties, one of the number one ways the cartel launders money. They give a nice, healthy sum of money to prosecutors like Mark McCann. Him and a Korean went in on that battery plant on the land. More than a prosecutor could ever make in years of being a prosecutor or being an attorney was put down for property. Then the insider trading and selling of this property, making hundreds of thousands per acre. The assessing of properties, you get it for 10, 15 grand, then you pay off the assessors, and wonder who was some assessors that took nice bribes to assess these properties, inflate them, where you buy it for 15, 20 grand, and it's selling for 120. You bet 100 grand. It's easy to do, and it's been done over and over again across the United States. I'm telling you guys, we need a RICO investigation and the Indiana State Board of Auditors to look into multiple individuals. I'm not going to bash families, but a certain family that was assessing properties have their financial records looked into. Some elected officials, their financials looked into, among other things. And you're guaranteed you're going to find money from this cartel going to certain individuals, filling their pockets. If you laundry this money for us, we'll give you X amount of cut. Like I said, look up a deputy over in California. He was getting other deputies to use their squad cars for $250,000 per load to go across state lines with their squad cars loaded down with drugs, knowing they will not get pulled over. And he, per load, per run, was getting $250,000, more than they could ever make on any retirement. And you wonder, oh, some state locals, and they wouldn't do corrupt things. Well, they're making more they can ever make in a year, 10 years. Their life, what they could even be getting paid on their retirement for one act or one simple, I didn't see anything, looking away from an issue, keeping an issue away from a certain individual or group like they are doing. Hands down, they're making more than they could ever make in retirement on a pension. And a few simple look the other way or help and protect and hide, knowing if this ring goes down in full, the ones that are helping, taking the money, taking the bribes, go down in full. And Nick McClellan, you cannot tell me your own family dealing. When there's other dealers' families, they're afraid of their family members and staying away from those that are dealing, that are involved in that life. You mean to tell me you never knew 2014 Blaine McClellan, you didn't know he was dealing? He got a sweetheart deal, and I got a feeling you helped with that, along with a few others. And then you're making sure this drug ring, like Gabriel Ellis, you got Kokomo Police Department. You've got a Indiana State Trooper detective, Charles Chuck Myers. Look him up. On a 2018 video inside KPD. Go on my videos. Watch that video. It might be hard to watch because they keep shutting me down, shutting me off, cutting me off. But you're hiding and you're protecting a child predator, Gabriel Ellis, that has a known history. And Liggett, you arrested him right there, 40 feet from where Derek stole the ammonia. He was given the ammonia, and by who, I could only guess. About 2 months later, when you guys did a controlled bust of him manufacturing 40 feet from where Toby was a manager and Derek, Toby Garth was the manager at the Ag Solutions right there on Prince William Road and 100 South. But when you go to try to my cases, you got to look up Miami County, Gabriel Ellis dealing in meth, manufacturing meth. He was arrested in Delphi, just like recently. There's a child predator arrested in Kokomo, but yet was pulled up and charged in Miami County. You got a lot of corruption, a lot of tentacles, and these tentacles go back to this cartel drug ring and the money that many are making off of land, purchase, and sales. The assessor is making a nice bit of money for getting hush money to inflate these properties. And you wonder why nobody ever wants to speak about this ring. And when you do, you get ones like Anna. You need to shut the fuck up. And nobody's going to believe you. And we're going to make sure it stays that way. Nobody will believe you. Well, guess what? Their own history. And then follow the money, which you can legally do. We know who had involvement, the motive, the who, what, when, where, and why. And 9 times out of 10, prove me wrong, friends of the family are 9 times out of 10 on missing and killed cases. The killer, the abductor knows the family. 9 times out of 10, it is somebody that the family knows directly and associates directly with that commit the act. That is a national known statistic. For them to act like that drug ring had nothing to do with it, but yet you're sitting friends with 3 murder suspects: Derek, Terry, Brad, Dell. You all know Jennifer, Ashley, Garrett. You've all been lifelong friends of them and their families. But nothing to look at that drug ring. And don't look at those killers that we're tied to. We've been longtime friends with. Nothing to see here. Don't look there. And if you look there and you start asking questions, you get people like Liggett calling ones like me, threatening to shut up, or they're going to use their badge illegally to shut me up. Why? Because I'm legally asking some very important questions that nobody else had the gonads to ask. Well, I did. And then her, not crying, not upset, but she's laughing in the background sitting next to Liggett. Laughing. That's sick. I guarantee a lot of people are going to be doing lives after the hearing, so I'm going to hop off here. I guess let's see the insanity that happens. But anybody needs contempt, it should be you, McClellan. Withholding evidence, obstructing. You and many others like you. Let's protect the drug ring and dealers like your own family. Well, I think we the people, we need to demand every dealer, including Blaine, McClellan, Derek, family or not, no matter how high or how much elected official-wise your family is, every dealer in and around this drug ring that is around these said missing killed cases need to be charged for murder. And watch what happens. I guarantee you we will find every bit of truth in more than one case. We need to demand that in the police accountability law. You've got Holman lying, forcing, going against that Indiana police accountability law. You got officers like Holman lying, making things up. When they're found going against that police accountability law, they can lose their license for good. They can no longer ever be a part of law enforcement or law ever again. The police accountability law takes their immunity off the table. We need to press for that. Any dealers in around this drug ring be pressed and charged for murder, but then we also need the police accountability law to do its law. We need to press hard for both of those and watch what happens. You're going to guarantee you're going to have a lot of them getting early retirement and jumping ship and running, thinking they can run from the law. Kind of sad. I had over 2 dozen after the 2018 video inside KPD. Jump ship, take early retirement, or like the SRR, school resource officer that took early retirement. The detective, original detective over Karina's case, when that video came out, you've got Charles Chuck Myers, Indiana State Police, Miami Post, and KPD admitting to over 40 child exploitation cases sitting cold on their desk. Why? Because they, when asked, refused to get federal help. It's a state and local issue. Child exploitation, child porn, producing and production, and having it in your possession is a federal law. Violated. But they're just saying it's a state and local issue only. But what do we know now? In 2018, when they were saying that, Delphi set is one of those cases sitting on their desk and wasn't acted on. Why? They could only do one case at a time. Manpower and funding was an issue. One person, one detective, one case at a time. It was 40 cases back in 2018. Where is it sitting now? And Carter, is that acceptable? And is it also acceptable that you have a state trooper sitting friends with multiple suspects of domestic terrorism on your payroll, with friends that sit back to known domestic terrorism issues and are in my informant files as suspects by the FBI, like Tony Slocum, Frank Castiello, among many others, sit in my informant files. And FBI deemed that as a threat in itself when you've got law officials getting friends with domestic terrorism suspects. The FBI deemed that as a threat. And that's not an issue? When you got a state senator from Kokomo showing in around drug ring, multiple big, high up dealers, nothing to see there. And he's stalking me on every profile I get. He's personally adding me, trying to find out what I'm saying. It's fine. I've got DC about to handle him. He's about to be barred from being a senator, and you're about to see why.